Hey, I just heard that Governor Lynch of New Hampshire uh, just signed a bill, signed gay homosexual marriage. Now, um, like I don't like to use that word gay because it's not, just to say that, well, actually, gay means showy. So a bunch of showy, prideful people. And pride is like stubbornness. It's a certain amount of stubbornness. And sometimes it could be good and sometimes it could be bad. Um, so, uh, so these people have are homosexual, and so again, I don't like that word gay because it takes the fact off as that this is not an emotional thing. This is a sexual thing, and so Lynch, Governor Lynch, who has always supported the sanctity of life and marriage, have always said that that's what he was about, and now he has lied and has signed a bill, which has signed a bill of homosexual marriage, meaning two men get together and have sexual acts, and that qualifies them to be married, regardless of their gender. So we have this thing of that everything is the same as a thing, even though regardless of whether it doesn't, you know, let me put it to you this way. Yesterday, I happened to be, I don't know why, public.org or something, publicresource.com. I was watching something called The Big Lie from Nazism. I just happened to be watching it. I had no idea I was going to mention this, but I just happened to be watching. But when they said The Big Lie, it hit me. So Lynch has lied. And so, I mean, in those states like Russia and what's his name, Hitler, had lied to different 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 countries like North Korea, China, and basically said that we will not, you can join us, and you're great people, you're prideful people, and you deserve to join us, and there will be no change to who you are or what you are. Well, really, once they signed themselves over, they became completely subjugated to Hitler, and basically they did a lot of mock votes where they actually had votes where there was only one thing on the ballot. You go see it. It's public resource or something like that. I just happened to be watching it. And another thing that they did, they had these court cases where the Nazi people would just holler at you, and there's nothing worse than being hollered at in German. I had a German girlfriend once, but I mean, literally, they would just holler at these guys. But their court was already decided. It was just a big show. It was a big show, and so what gets me is about they can tell these lies. Now, again, I have nothing but love for any human being, but I don't love lies. And this is a big, big lie that they're convincing everybody of. And the lie is that, oh, it's a human right and it's the same. There's no human rights with marriage. Is not a human right. Just because you marry, just because heterosexuals who are human, cannot just marry anybody they feel like. There are moral instances where it is not okay. One being incest. You can, and based on procreation, because the baby might be defective, or whatever they call it. So just because of that, you are not allowed to marry. Now, when you have the same instance of two men, you can't even think about having, because of morality, which is creating of life and things that has to do with humanity and which are good for life. You cannot even create life. So the sex you have is not only it does not create life, but it's a so it's not even it malfunctions as sex. You can't even create life. So for those reasons, that alone, that's an obvious truth. You know, marriage is about life. It's about love. Is about life. It's about creation, life. You know, even if you decide not to have life, it still means you have the capability. And even for a whole group of people to never be able to create life, they always try this one. It's a big lie. Well, sterile people. There's only 10% of sterile people. The whole group of heterosexuals create life. You don't cherry pick out 10% throughout humanity. No one who is homosexual can ever create life with their partner or create life with their partner, share genes. I saw this other thing about this beauty of actually becoming one. Something actually, I forgot what it was, but so they use that, and they're gonna, well, just because of 10 people, if you know what, those 10 people are what adoption is for. Those 10 people or whatever, whatever. This is just a basic truth. And so it reminds me of this big lie that we're selling everybody like they did in German days. Now, here's what I was going to say. Okay, this is what I was really going to say when I flicked on the camera. When I flicked on the camera is, there was a volcano the other day. The president acknowledged the space program. They want to go to Mars and all that stuff like that. You know what? I understand, there's been some beautiful things that they have been able to be able to do. But, at the same time, we had a volcano and that stopped all air traffic and control. Now, not the United States have always had a space program and stuff like that. But you know what? We don't really have it together right here. To be talking about going to Mars and all that stuff. To me, I understand other countries are gonna do it, and I understand Buzz Lightyear, Buzz Aldrin, or whatever his name is, go forward. They made Buzz, from Pixar. I understand that. That's all good, and it would be nice, but and already they said the space program going to the moon. The reason why they're canceling one is because the other one is completely redundant. And so I don't really see how, we just, okay, all right. So instead of landing on the moon, that's completely redundant. Let's land on an asteroid. That's at least something different. I'm not a superstitious person, and I don't believe in I don't believe in aliens and all of that stuff. We haven't found any and stuff like that. I don't believe in all of that. I'm not superstitious. I'm not horoscopes and stuff like that. But they say that Mars is a war planet. And then immediately we get the Earth warring against us, where no planes can stop. No planes can stop because of the whole of Europe. Because of a volcano. To me, that means something. The day that is announced that happens, I'm not knocking Obama about that. I don't even know if he was thinking about the space program when he became president, But this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is our climate, we have this is my point about it. Our climate, we have notably known, we all are aware there's some issues with the climate. Okay, the economy, we have corrupted it. There's some issues with it. The last war screwed that up. The way they lowered the gas emissions for all the cars and stuff like that, the way Bush did that for the sake of oil. We know that it screwed up the economy. We know that it screwed up, we corrupted this. We got politicians with helicopters. We got them, spending taxpayer dollars on their sexual habits. We know, we got guys footing the bill for bondage clubs. We know that we got those kind of corruptions. We know we have corrupted these things, and we are trying to regulate it and to correct it and put some restraint on our spending. We know it's out of budget. So if we know we have a tendency to corrupt things, then why isn't that we don't understand that we're corruptive towards marriage, and that this gay homosexual thing is another corruption scheme and plan that we are doing now? And the worst thing about it is that, out of popularity polls that are saying we don't want this as the basis of our morality, that these corrupted politicians are doing it for the sake of a small group of people who have an immoral, not human. It does not create humanity. Morality is about things that further humanity, even if you take God out of the equation. It is so funny to me that the other day, today I believe, they have a silence day in homosexuality in schools, yet they have just declared it unconstitutional to pray in the schools. So it's okay for your high school students to have sex in the dirt hole, to you put their mouth on parts of the body, that is considered sodomy. I'm not judging people that do it, because homosexuals do it, heterosexuals do it. I'm not judging it. But what I'm saying, it is what it is. It does not create life. It is only, when heterosexuals does it, it's only foreplay. It's only a part of building up to natural intercourse. It is not actual intercourse. It does not. Intercourse creates life. It is a form of sex, but it does not create life. Okay, so it is not the full course meal, so to speak, and yet, and it doesn't create life. It doesn't adhere to anything, it's the productivity of life or anything. It does not, So what I'm saying is that we've turned this and saying that it is equal to when we don't have a baby from it. It's not equal. The results are not the same. How can it be equal? That's a lie. That's a plain, unadulterated lie. So that's my problem with it, is like speaking truth to power. Okay, we understand you've corrupted the economy, you corrupted the ecosystem, and now you want to corrupt the thing, regardless of you think you're sanctified, holy, or have any value. Regardless if you think heterosexuals did a piss poor job with it anyhow. If it's 50% of the marriages, have failed, and there's still 50%, then there's enough to create life and good things and stuff like that. If this was 50, it's still, my optimism is still, a marriage is a very good quality thing. And we have done everything to denigrate people who have done beautiful marriages and who have done wonderful things, And we've associated to this Hollywood crap of people who are just, one up Brad and Pitt and all of them and all of these things, which are just, these people who get married for entertainment's sake. And we liken that to marriage, and we've allowed them to kill people. If this was cyanide and it was only 10% full, and if that represented marriage and I drank it, I would still die from it. Marriage, no matter what percentage, is good. If this was the amount of homosexual, true homosexual, if there was one, if that represented cyanide, and I drink this one true homosexual creative act, life-bearing human right. It does not create humanity. It is inhumanity laws. If you had one that was for the betterment of humanity, then I could say, okay. If you had without artificial means, without going there and splicing them genes and creating a clone or something like that to try to make this green monkey things where they're slicing monkeys with algae so that they can learn how to split genes. If you didn't have to defile the humanity itself for it to work, if you just had one and it represented 1% throughout humanity, then you could say it's a human right. If you had one thing that represented life, homosexuality represents no life. It has immoral. It creates no life whatsoever. And they're saying that it's humane, that it's a human right. Even heterosexuals cannot get married if it does not create humanity. If it is not for the betterment of humanity. Incest, you cannot do that. You cannot. There is something that fathers can't marry their daughters, mothers can't marry their sons. Because it's immoral, whether you're heterosexual or not. It is not a fact of discrimination. And for them to call you lies or bigots, they are liars. To call you a liar. Anybody who would do that, and I'm going to tell the truth, not all homosexuals are like that. Not all homosexuals. Some homosexuals know it's a God-forsaken lie. And they have duped everybody else into believing this. And so it's again the hypocrisy and the truth. Oh, you're not gonna give people a day of prayer, but you give them a day of silence for homosexuality. It's very carnal. And I can understand carnality. I'm human too. I have lusts and desires and like that. But certain ones I don't go. It's like what I did the sermon on, okay, you know what, you can go this far, but that's it. It's like a girl being, not that I want to that or want to marry somebody who is 17 years old, but she is off limits. It's like, okay, I'm cool. I can marry an 18-year-old if I desired it. If I wanted to walk around with a young girl looking like an old man, looking like her daddy, if I wanted to walk around and actually do and pursue that, I could. But I don't want to, because I understand that, I have more integrity for myself. They look good, I can look all day. I can look all day if I want. But it's only until you go to touch someone who is under 18 that it's a problem. So you have to have limitations. And so, you know what? Okay, in the moral, non-godly or heathen world or Gentile or whatever you want to call it, they call that immoral. We call it sanctity. Okay? What they call it, mixing words or whatever. It's just a play on word. You call it okay, marriage is the one sanctity or holy or sanctified thing, because it is moral. It is good for humanity. Any marriage, 1% marriage is good for humanity, So anyway, just like if there was 1% good thing that creates life. There is nothing, and again, I preached on it. It's like the tree in the garden, the parable, and the tree in the garden. It is a tree without fruit. Cut it down. It is a tree without fruit. Cut it down. And Jesus said, you know what? No, give it a year. It's a tree where he says, I will tend to them. I will take it. Jesus loves you. Even if you are a tree without fruit. Jesus loves you. Go read the parable, and I'll explain it just to round out my time. Again, two parables. Daniel. It's just like the sanctity of marriage. Not until you went into the house of God and took those chalices that were sanctified for the house of God. Not until you went there that there was a problem. Not until that there was a writing on the wall. Volcanoes stopping all kind of air kind of traffic is a writing on the wall. It should tell you are. The newsman said it the other day. He says, okay, we might be in the air and we might do it, but we don't run the show. Even on the news, they had to say that. You stop. You don't run the show. You don't make the rules on life. You can govern people, but you don't make the rules on life. And when life stops governing people, that's when people have to start speaking up and speaking true to people who are trying to sell lies. This is about money. So again, like I said, not until they went into there did it become a problem. I don't have anything against homosexuals, but this is a blatant lie. Again, going back to the other parable, the tree in the garden, you go, here's a tree that grows up and soaks up the sun, keeps the shade from the trees that really need the sun. That's why he said cut it down. Because even as it grows up, it shades, it keeps the shade from trees that do produce fruit. Okay, now you got a man working on it so that it'll produce fruit. And his labor, his time, his effort. Not only that, the dirt, the mulch, and all of that, it soaks that up. So resources, homosexuality and homosexual passing that into law, it only drains resources. Again, because and this is the bad part, that homosexuals don't see they are being used. And just to be mild, they are being used to come across Christianity. And that's the problem. It's the only thing that will come up to the altar of God, come up to the church and say, well, God's laws is wrong. When it's obvious truth. God's laws are wrong. God says be fruitful and multiply. That stuff all ties in together. I don't understand why you see it. Maybe because you're not an artist. Maybe because you don't have vision. Maybe because you can't, understand true creativity. Maybe that's why I'm the one that's saying it. It's because I'm an artist and I understand how to put things together and connects the dots. That doesn't make me such an intelligent person. That's not the Christianity why I say this. It's because I can just basically connect dots. Be fruitful and multiply. This homosexual bears no fruit. What do we call children? Fruit. You're going to tell me you can't see that? I don't care if you don't believe in God or not. You still have a brain, common sense. You can't tell the lie from the truth, and you trying to say you're intelligent, wisdom, different? No, you're different if homosexuality has nothing to do with being an artist. And that's why I've had to deal with lies all the time. They're trying to say, oh, just because you're an artist, you're a homosexual. That's not true. Just because you're an artist, you're going to be broke. That's not true either. So, I'm broke, so I might be broke now. But anyway. So just to round it out, and I thank God for this opportunity. Go read the whole parable about the tree. You know, it's Jesus still has love for you. Jesus is the thing that they always try to say is that, oh, where's God? He ain't doing nothing. You just don't see the writing on the wall. You don't see the writing on the wall. You don't see what even if you didn't believe in God and you didn't see the things like the volcanoes and the earthquakes and the stuff like that. Just if you don't, so for the writing on the wall not to be there, it would have to be total destruction, right? I'm not gonna go there. Let me back that up. I take that back. What would be the next step? Okay, is my point. Okay, so let me take that back. So even if you don't see the writing on the wall, you would know the very nature of man is to corrupt things. You could tell by the economy, we corrupted that. You could tell by the money system, we corrupted that. Okay? We're trying to fix it. We're trying to do things to straighten it out and to make it, give it more time to keep working with it, But we know that we're going the wrong way, that we go too far and we go in excess. Knowing that that's our nature, even if you don't believe in God, you could know that this new thing and space, especially if there's some obvious truths. I put two homosexuals in a room and tell me how it creates humanity. Then you could say it's a humanity law. You're saying you're discriminating us from creating children. Who is discriminating you against that? Life itself? We have grace. We have tolerance. We have long suffering. Nobody is stopping you from having sex other than AIDS. The things, a natural order of life that has a way of putting things that are in chaos and out of order in check. Everybody suffers from that. Fornicators, adulterers, homosexuals. It's all written together in the same place, one after another in the Bible. That if you act and you behave like that, you're taking a chance on your life. That's humanity laws. They're bigger than a bill. They're bigger than any government. Life is bigger than government. Truth is bigger than government. So who is discriminating? If you're equal, then produce some life. If it's humanity, produce some humanity. If you can't do that, then you're lying when you say you are equal. That's my whole problem with it. It's a big lie. Just like the big lie that they sold in Nazi Germany. I didn't write it as public something. Publicresource.org or something like that. And it's so funny that that it's the same thing, so, and then it has this persecution value where it's stopping children. It's stopping children from publicresource.org. It just happened to be on it, and they are not talking to it. But then you have a day of prayer. It's instigating it, and so that's my point. The sad part about this homosexuality is homosexuals don't see how this evil is using, and it is evil when a capital Washington D.C. is evil when one man sits up who is a corrupt man, and this corrupt liar Lynch, who in New Hampshire can pass laws. One man. So you can buy this cat. Everybody has a price tag. You can buy this cat and he'll sign something into law that everybody knows is an obvious lie. And so the sad part about it, and you'll hear it from the Pope. I mean, if they got homosexuals all up in the church, everybody can be corrupted. That's what I'm saying. I could run out and be homosexual tomorrow if I allowed myself to be. If I wanted to, I could too, and then that would mean I changed more. I changed So a transgender only exists through technology. There's no such thing as a transgender without medical science. There is no such thing. So there was no such thing as transgenders 200 years ago. No such things. And they're trying to say they're humanity. You know, pain, money, power, corrupt, cutting on your flesh. You know, and then the same people will try to stop circumcision, which is supposed to be a holy act. Dividing yourself from your flesh, not letting your flesh rule over you. Amazing. The hypocrisy of it all. The worst part, and that's my end point. The worst part is that the biggest part about it, and this is why God doesn't take a liking to sin, because sin itself tries to tell God He's wrong. It's the only thing. This is the one that vehemently come against prayer, against children and prayer, and people will allow it for the sake of sexuality, where they can put their penis in somebody's anus. That's the only difference, right? Tell me if there's another difference. To be able to put a woman to put for a woman to open her legs and put their mouth on somebody else's vagina. That's all you can do, And then to say children that want to aspire to things that relate to hope, chastity, to keep them from AIDS, fidelity, loyalty, truth. This is what we've given our children over to, So again, the worst part about it is how that pride will step up onto the altar of God and say, no, you're wrong. That's what brings the wrath. That's the bad part. Is that tell God it is wrong when it's obvious truth. God bless you all. Jesus loves you anyhow. There's always time. Jesus is the one at the end of the parable saying, you have, let me give you let me work with it more. Let me go in the ground and dig around. Let me dig up. Let me dig down in the ground. Let me bury myself. Let me go in the ground and then see if anything comes up. And let me rise up and let me see if anybody comes up with me who has faith in me. Let me go in the ground and see it. Let me dig around. Let me dig around and go in the ground and try and be buried with them and their sin, and let me take on their sin, so that they don't have to carry it. And let me tell you something. I used to be an alcoholic. I don't have no desire for alcoholism. None. I have no desire, because I prayed on it. I had to pray for it once, and I had to really want it. And I tried it once, and I failed. And then I went back. I quit one time for 6 months, smoking and drinking. Couldn't do either, and I didn't lie to myself. If you can't do one drug and can't control one drug or one habit, then you can't do the other ones. So that way I do as long as I smoke and as long as I drink. I couldn't do both. I'm alive today because of that. I've lived longer because of that. That stuff was killing me. My lungs and my liver, it was killing me. Smoking with the lungs, drinking kills your insides. My dad to this day call it rot gut. We even call coffee rot gut. I still have a coffee habit. I'm still working on it. I'm still getting it together. It takes some time, but I'm telling you the truth. That's my testimony. When I was 20-something years old, I was ready to drink myself into oblivion. But God picked me up and turned me around. He just, I got sick and turned jaundice. And then He just took the desire. I just said, I can't do it no more. I can't, And I have never had the desire for that stuff. Maybe once, like 10 years later, I thought about it, but I don't desire it. Nothing in my body tells me I want it. Now, God can do the same thing for you. God can deliver you from anything, and I know it to be true. So you can't tell me. I've been through it. You can't tell me that this stuff is not spirits. You could be an old, dirty man. That's spirit too. Now, I'm not perfect either. I'm pretty dirty right now. I need to take a bath, and I'm getting pretty old. Somebody call me old and fat, so, I'm not beyond, just because you Christian don't mean you can't be tempted, don't mean it's over, you above temptation, if that was the case, Anyway, the devil wasn't came to Christ, he can't be tempted, but he don't mean the devil ain't going to try to tempt you, So God bless you. We all have problems. We all have fault. Have faith in Christ. If you want a better way, He can give it to you. And you can't tell me different, because He saved my life. That's what I'm trying to tell you. God bless you all. Love you all. Jesus is the man at the end saying, let me give it another year. He has grace and mercy on you. Nobody is condemning you. Ooh, I'm way over 30 minutes. God bless you. I'm posting this anyway. And I'm going to get in the bath. That's on the outside, though. I'm still working on the inside. Jesus is working on the inside. He's going to do on the outside. Learn the song. It'll get you through. God bless you.